There we go. That's better. Mic's unmuted. G'day, everyone. How are you? Hope you're well on this Tuesday night, or Tuesday night for me anyway. Probably a different time somewhere around the world, wherever you're watching from. Might be a good morning, good afternoon, or a good evening. Well, it is a pretty good evening here. We've had a bit of rain this morning, or overnight last night. Yeah, my intros. Yeah, well, you got to. There's that time, that lag where people get the notification and then flow on, and by the time they click on it or something else is going on, then it gives them a bit of time to come in here. So that's why I do it. So hope everyone is well. It's Tuesday night in Lismore. Thanks, Dan. Excellent. Your part of the world. It's always Tuesday. Well, for some people, it's always Monday. All right, let's. We'll give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat here who's come in. You guys were in early, which I only saw on YouTube. It didn't pop up here on the restream, but I wasn't in there that early. I came in a bit late. So good day to Phunken Hungry, Cody, Bill, Roger, Peter. Who else is in here? Bill, Fridge is in here. Who else? Who have I missed? Roger, I think I said Roger, yeah. And anyone else I missed? Yeah, well, if I've missed you, I'm sorry. Thanks for being here. And we got a little bit of an update on things about happening in the shed and the roller and the other shed that's going on. So we'll start with the other shed first, the wife shed. That's happening. It's still happening. It's a bit of an ongoing thing. We've had to put a sort of stop on a couple of things because they're getting a little bit out of control. Nothing major, but just a little bit out of control. However, we've had the plumbers come in and done some work already. We had to dig a trench for him, and we used the mini excavator to do that. Done a great job. That was our first trench in since we dug the electrical. The mini excavator done its first job when it got here, and we dug the electrical cable that runs up to this shed and also the other shed as well. Internal framing is going on, or has gone on, inside the wife's craft room. Come laundry, come toilet. Well, it's where things used to be. The gyprock sheeting's been done in the roof. We're just waiting for the plasterer to come back and do some sanding and a bit of other work. We're waiting on tiles. We've ordered them. We've got to get some other stuff. So it's happening. It's taking, of course, longer than we would both like, but that comes down to organising tradespeople, which my wife has done most of that. She's done a fantastic job during this period, and balancing her work at the same time that she's got on. It's just been a bit of a stressful time. However, we are working through it, but still a few things to go. Now, moving on to the roller. Well, as you can see, I'll move out the way. We've got, that's the road spur gears there. They've been sandblasted. They were blasted a couple of weeks ago. Haven't done much more with that because of other things going on around here at home. However, I've got another surprise. That's the tender behind us, of course, behind the gear. That hasn't moved since we put it there. The front rolls are, I'll bring in a few extra views here. And righto, let's go. Wrong one. There's front rolls. They haven't moved since we put them there. We'll need to do some work on them. There's a good video on YouTube, which some of you may have seen, by a gentleman in the UK. Ian A. Cooper is his name. He recently done a retube on an Aveling road roller, where he had the front rolls removed out of that. A good video. He does some really good videos. Doesn't sort of talk much. He just shows what he does. Okay, so that's, thanks Mum. Mum and Dad are watching. Yep, that's great. They've got sound. Righto, Bill, no worries. And now the big thing, the other big project, or not big project, the other item that happened today is the differential. There it is right there. It's probably a little bit out of focus, but we'll take a close look at that. I think I'll just give that a wee bit of a focus. Hang on. Oh, and it's gone to sleep. Here we go. I do a, where are we? There we are. No, I'll zoom in a bit. Oh. So the differential has been sandblasted. We'll get an even closer look soon. The main problem with the differential is the spider gears, or the planetary gears, whatever you want to call them. Let's make our way around here. So if I grab one of these, you can sort of see the play in them. And same with this one. This one's got a lot of play in it too. In fact, I'll grab the geez, I went for a trip then. Certainly didn't enjoy it. I'll grab the mobile phone and we'll get a closer look. I'll make sure I've got my glasses on. Yeah, Dan, there's a little bit there, but nothing. Oh, on the spider gears, yeah. So just a little bit. This is moving cam. Old trusty forklift doing its thing. We can see at one stage, it looks like one of the rivets has either fallen out or at some stage it's been welded back in. Actually, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I wonder if these have been, if they'd been apart, then the others would have been taken out as well. But the interesting thing when you do these or get down to this stage where it's been sandblasted back to bare metal, you've got various marks and so on that they would have used to get it running true, all that sort of stuff. Looks like there's been a bit of a flaw in the casting, and they fixed it up. But generally speaking, yeah, there is a bit of wear, but we'll get right in close here. But I've seen worse, and it's definitely not worth going and getting a new one. Yeah, we can show that. That's a solar system. Yeah. Yeah. G'day, Miss Austin. Thanks for being here. Miss Austin is one of our viewers from the United States, and she is up very early. And I appreciate you taking the time to jump in here and say hello. I'll just... Oh, okay. So it didn't tell you I was live. Oh, okay. Well, that's it's a bit of a shame. That does happen. I've had that happen to me on other channels as well. So yeah. So I got to. I'll have to turn this over and undo the bolts. There's a bolt that is holding these in place. I know other people have changed the way that these get lubricated, because they pretty well rely on the lubrication from the gears, so like a splash lubrication or whatever drops down from the gears. we probably need to change that, and it's got a nice little splinter. Change that at some point and find some other way of getting lubrication into those for the future before it goes back on. The other day, or the other week, last week, the bearing that came out of there came out real easy. It was a very light fit. Now, I talked to another owner of the same model roller, and he said the same thing happened with his. It just wasn't an interference fit or anything. It was just a really very light tap fit. So whether it's just worn over time or what, I don't know. So that was interesting. I was just surprised how easily it tapped out. I just using a hammer, there's very, very light blows. But the good news is there's no obvious cracks or anything like that. It's in good shape considering the age of it, which is 95 years old. Yeah, you can't say much more. And once again, yes, there is wear, but nothing excessive. So it'll go back onto the engine without any problems. The sandblaster did miss a few little spots, but I'm not too worried about that. These have got to get taken out. There's a bit more wear on the planetary gears here, or the spider gears, whatever you want to call them. Right, okay. Yeah, that's quite possible. Sometimes when they change things, you know, it makes changes in the software that we don't realise happens, and that happens to more of us than what we. If you know, we all like to complain about software. Yeah, Peter, if you're looking that good at 95 years old, and same with me, mate. So we'll take a closer look at the tender. I know we've touched on it briefly, but it's usually just sitting in the background here. But with this roller, there's two, the brake rod or brake lever runs. No, sorry, let me get that right. The brake assembly runs through the tender, and on this engine, there is no way for lubrication. Now, on Emma's engine, Emma was here, she dropped in Saturday and had a bit of a chat. We did a live thing. And she showed off some grease cups that she's going to make. They did a test pattern, and there's a bracket that goes on here which the wood bolts onto, and then that goes against the inside of the rear rolls to you know, apply the brakes to the roller. However, this one has been cut. There should be another piece on here coming out a little bit further, about another 3 inches or so, and it's round, and it has the nut inside it, which connects to the actual brake rod. The mounting fits there, or bolts onto there, and the lever comes up, or the rod, sorry, I should say. The rod comes up above, and there's a handle where you can wind on the handbrake. Now, the difficult part, I suppose, is going to be getting this off. It is keyed on, and it's been on there since it was made. So we haven't attempted to do anything with that yet. That's a wait and see sort of, not a wait and see, but it's just not on the list of high priorities at the moment. We've got other things going on. So, but that'll need to be taken off so I can get the shaft out that goes in the tender. In fact, we'll get a bit of light and we'll show you where it goes inside. Right, just stay there before you fall over. Now, sorry if you're getting a little bit motion sickness with the way I'm carrying it around, but hopefully it's all good. I'll just catch up in the chat a little bit when I jump in. Yeah, Mrs. Austin, they would have, when a lot of these engines went into parks, they usually put them in complete. However, they did weld up some bits and pieces, and in some cases, they cut things off just in case kids tried to get their fingers caught or something along those lines. However, it is quite possible that over the years, well, particularly with this one where it sat in a park for over 50 years, it was pretty isolated. You know, quite a few things got stolen off it during its time in the park. So who knows? Somebody could have cut it off, but something like that. It was probably put in there. It was probably done at some stage. It's unfortunate that that sort of thing happens, but that's what happened to a lot of steam engines and steamrollers and road steamrollers. Back in the day, they were put in there as a kid's play toy, and of course, come along, we all got wise and old and all that sort of thing, and safety rules come in, and you know, you can no longer climb on things or that sort of stuff. So, however, we have managed to recover some main components that went missing off this roller along, you know, some time back. I have covered that before. I probably need to go back and recover it again. That might be a topic for next week. And the other thing is we have a lot of the drawings. We have copies of many of the original drawings, which helps. And the other thing is there's a number of these engines still around. So there's this one we're working on here. There's another guy down in Melbourne who's working on the same model. In fact, in terms of serial numbers, they're only like 3 numbers apart. So we've been working together over a period of time, and that's been absolutely tremendous. The collaboration I've had with this gentleman, it's just been fantastic. All right, G, thank you very much for being here and coming in. I appreciate the support you've given me, and we'll catch up with you later. And we'll go back to our webcam, our mobile phone cam, and I'll show you what's inside the tender. Or for most of us, we probably don't see inside a tender. Whoops, I'm right in the way, of course. Righto, here we go. Going in. Righto. Righto, into the void. Righto, I'll put the light inside. That'll be easier. There we go. So this is inside. Now, it's very rusty. It's suffered a fair bit, and I don't know how good it is. Obviously, the front part I'm going to have to replace at some stage. I may even have to replace the whole bottom. So there's a fair bit of fabrication work in this when we get round to it. However, this is, oh yes, I can see a problem already. This is the pipe that the brake shaft runs into. It's in the water space. Normally there's water in here. That's what supplies water to the tender for the steam engine to make steam, especially when you're going along the road. And looking a bit closely, I can see that this pipe, especially up here in this corner, is fairly badly pitted. I'm not sure how thick that is, and it is quite possible that it could be rusted inside. However, it's not beyond the realms of possibility to get that out. So it's one of those things that I'm going to have a crack at some stage. Get the 2 bits off the side so I can gain access and see if we can get some lubrication in there, or just knock the shaft out, and then we can see what's going on, and a bit more exploratory work into tender here to see what we need to replace, see what we can save, all that sort of thing. There is, this is only thin steel, and like I said, it's been exposed to the elements for most of its life, if not all of its life, until about we've had it 6 years now, something like that, 6 years now. Then the guy who previously owned it, he had it in his shed for 8 years. So probably for about 15 years of its life, it hasn't been, what's her name? Yeah, Pete, that's a standard saying, having a crack at something, having a go. That's what it means. So these 4 bolts on the outside here of the tender are part of what they call a scarifier. Now, I've never seen any photos of the scarifier that was fitted to this thing. However, it was fitted with the equipment at some stage. I don't know when. It's an item that has three tines that dig into the ground and dig up the ground, so you can, get it up and get a bit of water into it and re-roll it and prep the road surface. So they're not required any time soon. So more than likely they'll be coming off too, because they're a bit of a hazard. Right, I haven't got any machining to do tonight. Like I said, there's been a few other things going on here at home, so I've only done pretty well what I've been able to do in terms of working. I'll go back over here. Just getting things done through work, like the sandblasting and so on. So, yeah, Cody, that's pretty good. Sorry, guys, I've been away from the chat, and I've only seen a few comments while I've been away. I'll jump back on the computer now and play a bit of catch up. If you guys have got any questions, fire away. What have we got here? Yeah, the scarifiers. Yeah, obviously the material at the time, the metallurgic material at the time is not as anywhere as as good as what we have the steel today. We have all sorts of steels today, and back then, although this sort of thing was a lot better, the 20s were a lot better than the early 1900s. It definitely, the metal that this is made of is definitely not as good as, say, our modern day materials. So it's no wonder stuff like that wore out. And if you ever drag your fingers through sand or gravel or anything like that, it doesn't take much to wear your fingers. So, when you're constantly digging in the ground, something's got to give, something's got to wear out. So the only person we haven't got in the chat tonight is Emma, and she did say she wouldn't be in the chat tonight. She's out on the road or coming home from a job or something like that. She was doing something. And so anyway, I'll just play... Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dan. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, you look at the various types of you know, engines that are around, you know, if you look at an Aveling or something like that, you know, most of these engines are sat out in the open for the same amount of time, and they hold up pretty good. But you know, these things, you know, when anybody, you know yourself, when you sit outside for a long time in the sun, you'll get sunburn, and that affects your body, affects the skin. So the same thing happens to, you know, materials. We've seen that happen over years and years. Yeah, Mrs. Austin, in the railways, you know, a lot of stuff was outside. A majority of stuff was outside. So he might have been grinding something to get the rust off or something like that. There's a number of reasons why you need to grind steel. You might have to weld it, so it's got to be clean, all that sort of stuff. Even in today's modern standards, you know, we have various steels for various jobs, and if it's a different type of steel, say for a pressure vessel, then that's going to be different to your general steel you go buy from the hardware or Home Depot or something like that. G'day, Paul. Thanks for being here, mate. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for the support. Sorry you've only finished work. You've been doing some long hours. It's not good for any of us. What else are we going to talk about tonight? I have no idea. Yeah. Well, mainly the diff. In fact, I might. Let's drop that down on the floor, and I might flip that over, I think. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll drop it down on the floor and I'll flip it over, and we can have a look at the other side. The forklift's going to cough and splutter a little bit. Because I think I left the gas on, so it's getting a bit low on gas. So we'll see how we go. Now, there will be a bit of noise. You may want to turn your volume down. I'll just push one of the forks in. I'll wrap a sling around it. I'll just put a short sling on. I'll come in a bit too and lift that up. So the sling I'm using is they're all color coded. The green ones can have 2-ton capacity in a straight lift. When you loop it around like that, you can lift 4-ton. These things are ubiquitous and very handy. You can buy them from hardware shops and so on. They come in different colours to go on their various ratings. Yellow is 3-ton, and these purple ones here are 1-ton, and they come in various lengths. They got a little safety tag, so it's a 1-ton straight lift. If you go like that, it's 2-ton. If you choke it, it gives you a guide on what to do. So we're turning the diff over so we can have a look at the other side and see if those nuts, see if I can get those nuts off. I'll find a spanner. And I'll just get the balance. And get it in the groove there, that'll do. There we go, that's what you want. Just nice and slow. Now, of course, just make sure that just make sure it's sitting on my timbers properly. If not, I'll just lift it back up again and sort her out. Yeah, no, I'll just rearrange that a bit. Now, just a little story behind the forklift. Pretty much after I brought the roller, the next thing I brought was the forklift. And I brought the forklift because I knew I was going to be having to take the roller apart, and all things on a piece of equipment like this is heavy. And you want to make sure you don't want to injure yourself. I know people do it with block and tackles and all that sort of thing, but forklift's just easy, and that also comes from my background in the earth moving industry I work in. You know, we pretty well got loaders and diggers and dozers and whatever else you need to get the job done. So the forklift was a no-brainer for me, because I know how handy they are and what you can do with them. And I've seen plenty of people and been involved with a lot of clubs who have a lot of this equipment, this heavy equipment, but they don't have anything to lift it up with or move it around with. And I certainly wasn't going to repeat that sort of stuff. So forklift is it. And this was a bargain. Righto, let's right. There we go. This forklift was an absolute bargain through Facebook Marketplace. And I just cannot emphasize enough that if you have equipment like this big equipment, you need a forklift to move it around. Right, I'm just going to play catch up in the chat again. G'day Lee from Southampton in the United Kingdom. Hello, thanks for being here. Yeah, Mrs. Austin. No, we're not. We're not going to drop anything. That's sort of part of the reason why we're doing this. I'm just going to check out the other cameras here. Let's diff cam, that one there. That thing's probably going to go to sleep soon. I'll zoom out a little bit on that one on the big camera. Oh, that's zooming in. There we go. I've mentioned this before. I use a number of different cameras to do the videoing here. And this is an older style camera. I've had this DSLR for a number of years, 10, 15, something like that. And the other piece of equipment I'm using is the phone, the iPhone. The image quality is a lot better because the sensor's a lot better, that sort of thing. So, and I'm on manual focus there. Stilesy, I don't know, mate. You might want to put a few emojis in and just see if it gives you a warning. So, so we'll just flick back to the old diff cam there. Go full size. There we go. And we'll now we flipped it over, we'll get it up close and personal and see the other side. So once again, I am away from the computer and I don't see the chat as much. It is on the phone. Hello, Shed Dog. Hello. Hey, hello. Oh, hey. G was in the chat before and she would have loved to seen you. Hey. So this is our girl. Oh, here we go. Look. Yes, hello. Hey, you're the star of the show now. Yeah, star of the show. Hey, what's that? Is that something interesting, is it? Is that something interesting? You're following me. You're following me. All right. Did we leave something behind? Did you bring any treats? Hey? Do you want a treat? Of course you want a treat. You're a dog. You want to eat food all the time. Right. Oh, that's a bit close. We'll get even closer in a second. And I forgot, there we go, we're nice and close there. I forgot my glasses, that's what I need. I've got a microphone, batch that around. Right, now we've flipped it over, we'll have a close look here and we might find a spanner. See if we can have a crack at these. Right, now the other side, close-up shot. It's amazing, you can still see, even though right here where my finger is, hopefully you can see that, I'll get in real close. You can see the lathe tool marks or the machining marks where this was machined. You get a little bit of burring over here, that's nothing. That can easily be just ground off and cleaned up. Once again, nice casting for its age. No issues standing out. And that's interesting. That there may be a part number. I am upside down, 88588. Well, it could be a pattern number. So that is interesting. I need to take a close-up shot of that. All these interesting little things. But let's get a spanner and see if we can get that out. Where am I going to put this? Right, once again, just bear with me, folks, while I set this up so it's up out of the way, but we can still view. Forklift's a handy thing. Get your hand out of the way, and of course it's going to fall. Oh, don't do that. Righto. There we go. No. There we go, that's better. That'll do. For starters, let's see if I can find a spanner and give that a crack. See if we can find the right size. Almost. Now, I've got an array of spanners over here. Now, when this engine was built, they were using Whitworth spanners. Now, with Whitworth, that's, or what they call pre-war, oh, would you look at that? They call them pre-war nuts, or the size, and because they just made it a lot bigger than what the say nuts and bolts are today in terms of physical size. So if you show it to you on here, if I get close enough, maybe I won't. So on there on the spanner it says 7/8 Whitworth as or 1 inch BSF. 7/8 Whitworth, or British Standard Whitworth 7/8, is the actual size of the thread, not the actual size of the nut across the flats here, like you see in today with some spanners, and that just came undone real easy. I was really surprised about that, how loose it came, how easily, I should say, it came undone. However, in saying that, there is, I can see, plenty of oil on the thread, and I have found that when pulling this apart, I have found that a lot of the threads on some of this stuff were real easy because of the amount of oil that was soaked into it over the years, over all these years. Now, so there's, might just get a rag, that nut's all the way undone. Like I said, I just can't see anything at the moment. I'm over here, so I'll just have another quick check and just catch up in the chat. Thanks, Pete. Nice use of the forklift yet. Yeah. So we'll I'll just grab me multi-grips. Pliers, multi-grips. No, where's the multi-grips? Oh, they're in the ute. Anyway, well, these will do. I'll see if... No, multi-grips are right there. That's what you want. That's what I want. Right. So I'll give that bit of a push. Or maybe I'll just grab onto it with the... probably get my big buff head out the way. It's the nut, that's the washer. Right, this is going to come out way easier than what I thought. Now, obviously, we're going to have a bit of grit on there from the sandblaster. Because when you sandblast something, it gets into everything. I know, I've got to get my big head out the way. And there we go, the shaft is out. And let's, now. Oh, there we go, that'll do the trick. That goes down there like that, and out she comes. You beauty. Righto. Happy days. Right, so what's worn? Oh, it's got a brass bush in it, or a bronze bush. Right. Oh, that makes life so much easier. And I'll explain why in a second. Let's get another piece of rag and give this a clean up. Righto. So this may not be in as bad as condition as what I thought. However, oh yeah, it's a bit battered by the looks of it. Doesn't look too bad. We'll have to get all that grease and grime out, off. Well, that's, yeah, oh yeah, no, there's a bit of wear there. Bit of wear, but we can always as long as, if that pin's not bent, that's one thing we'll have to check on. If that pin's not bent, then we can so there's like a spacer or a washer behind there. And yeah, we have a brass bush, and I'd say that brass or bronze bush is severely worn, which I can actually see due to the lack of lubrication. And there's a hole in the end, so and there's no other way of oil, or maybe there is. Maybe there's supposed to be a hole in there, and that's how it's supposed to get through. Well, that's something we'll have to do off air and have a serious look at. But that came out a lot easier than what I thought. Righto. Let's grab a bit of rag out of the rag bag and give my hands a clean up. Sit down in the director's chair. See what's happening here in the chat. I'm going to have to take that out. Right. Yeah, you're right there, Peter. Bush making time. Thanks, thanks, Mrs. Austin. I appreciate it. Yeah, so that was pretty. It was pretty good actually. I was quite happy about how that came out. It was quite easy, and of course I'll have to. Righto, let's throw my big mug back on the screen here. Here we go. We're back. Hello. Yeah. Well, Bill, I think they've already invented teleportation, but they're not telling us. Yeah, so that was a lot easier than what I thought. I'm very happy about that. But of course, the hard work's not the hard work, but the ongoing work needs to keep happening in terms of let's just whatever. Right, there we go. We might just pop that down on the ground now while I think of it, and I'll come back and right. That's done. I'll have to get the phone, and we'll leave the phone on there for the time being. Well, yeah, that went way better than what I thought tonight. Pretty happy with the way things went. So what I might do is just I'll chuck the link. That's a link. If you want to come on and have a chat, we'll have a bit of a chat. If no one comes on, we'll round it up. We'll wind it up. This is ongoing. I thought about doing part videos or anything like that, but that's a fair bit of work. I'll just keep going as I am, posting from time to time, and we're getting the message across, or the message. I'm not really giving a message of any sort, just showing people what I'm doing, and if it helps someone, I'm hoping that it does, that other people can get ideas from what I do, or maybe just see something that they haven't seen before. So yeah. And on that note, it's time for another cup of tea, I think. But we'll yeah, the noisy stuff's just happening now with people with hardly any exhaust driving by. For everyone who's maybe just jumped into jumped in and watching, I'm working on a steamroller, and these are the parts of the steamroller that I'm currently working on. It's an ongoing process, and yeah, it's a bit of a passion, but once it's all done, we'll be able to put it back together nice and easily, and we'll be able to drive down the road, because that's what you do when you own a steamroller. You drive down the road and go on road runs and do all sorts of other stuff. Yeah, the sandblasting videos from a few weeks back, where I've got some other parts sandblasted. So, like I said, I'm lucky that, you know, this I can get it done fairly quickly, and it's just really convenient. And they do good work. Yeah, they miss a bit sometimes, but considering this stuff has been on there for 95 years, then we then we don't sort of complain too much at all whatsoever. Yeah, you're right. You're right there, Miss Austin. And for the size of the engine, because it's not a big engine compared to, say, some of the others, the parts are relatively small, and that's the big advantage, I suppose, of this engine. It's really not that big overall in terms of physical size. It's still a fair decent lump of a machine when it's all back together, but as you say, breaking down into small parts, then it's no real problem. It makes life more manageable, that's for sure. All right. Almost into the hour, so I've managed to entertain you guys for almost an hour without too much going wrong. And I'd just like to thank everyone for coming on in the chat and being courteous and polite to each other, having a bit of a joke. And I think I'm going to wrap it up in that. And I'm going to say good night, and I hope you all keep safe and stay well. And we'll probably see some of you guys tomorrow night on Emma's stream. If she's going to do one, I'm sure she will. I think she's going to give us a painting update. More, nope, gone. I thought that was someone jumping in. You're right, Peter. One small piece at a time. That's how you need an elephant. Yeah, and that's what we've been doing. Just bit at a time. And as soon as you break it down to those small bits. And First Floor Audio, you're live tonight. Tonight, your time in the UK. So what time is it now, Lee? Yeah, no worries, Mrs. Austin. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. But what have I got going on here? Let's turn a few things off. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Studio. Delete that. I don't know why that's there. We'll get rid of that too and just add me. And let's get that off. And it's almost 12 midday. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Almost time for lunch. Yeah, so anyway, guys, look, thank you very much for sorry, guys. Let's here we go. Bit of a
whistle time.
Yeah, there we go. But that didn't quite work out how I thought it would. Oh, it's in. Right. Let's go out with a bit of a countdown and just say thank you everyone and good night.